talk a little bit about Twitter. So, when you first log into Twitter, this is your basic homepage. To the left, you'll get a snapshot of your profile, just showing your header image, your profile image, the name you're using on Twitter, as well as your Twitter handle, the number of tweets that you've sent out, how many people you're following, and how many people are following you. To the left are what are called trends, and these are the most trending topics on Twitter at any given moment. So you can take a look today, Trump Tower, future of b-ball, a couple other different ones are trending. And this is a great way to get on a current conversation that's getting a lot of traction on Twitter. Up here is where you can actually post your own tweets. So you click, go ahead, tell what's happening, attach a photo. You can choose from any of your photos that you have. You can choose a GIF. These are kind of funny. A lot of people use these memes. Do a little dancing one, applause, pretty much can pick anything. If you want to add a dancing GIF to your tweet, you can. Okay, you can actually add polls to Twitter now if you want to poll your users. And you can also add a location. And with locations, just be careful. It's like anything else. When you're sharing your location, you're letting people know where you are. You're broadcasting it. Below that are going to be all the latest tweets from the people that you follow. Okay. And as you see these tweets, you can choose to do a few different things. You can reply to them. And when you do that, you see the original tweet, and then you'll see the Twitter handles of anyone that was mentioned, as well as the original tweeter. And you can go ahead and type a message to them and click tweet. Another thing you can do is you can retweet. And what that means is you're just going to send that tweet out to all of your followers. So even if they don't follow the account that you're retweeting, they'll at least see the tweet that that account sent out. You can also do what's quote or add a comment to one of those tweets. And when you do that, it will show up as your comment, and then the tweet of that person will be quoted below it. The other thing you can do is you can like tweets. So to do that, it's pretty simple. It's like in anything else, you just click the heart, and now you've liked a tweet. So that is the basic outline. There's also this really neat tool. As you get more followers and you start following more people, and you like things and send out tweets, Twitter's algorithms will start looking at other accounts that might interest you. So you can click view all over here. And this is a good way to find new people to follow. Moments are just giving you snapshots of what's being talked about today. So it's going to be news, it's going to be tweets, anything from sports, entertainment. So whenever somebody mentions you or responds to one of your tweets, likes one of your tweets, retweets you, then you're going to get a little notice under notifications. So you can look at all of them at once. So you can see this is one of my other students, and he retweeted a tweet from this woman, Jill Santopolo, and he just tagged me so that I would see it. And so I see that. Here's another one. So he got in a little bit on the in-class social media hashtag we were using, the COM125MCC, which you guys will use as well. And he sent a tweet directed to me. See, it's using my username, and then added a GIF to it. You can see people liking retweets that I've done, liking tweets that I've sent, retweeting my tweets. And so it's just a list of letting you know what's happening. If you just want to see times people have mentioned you directly, you can click mentions. Okay. And then finally are your messages. And I'm not going to go into those because I have a lot of messages from different people. But your messages are where you can send direct messages that aren't being published on Twitter, but to other users on Twitter. Now, you can search Twitter for pretty much anything. So say you're interested in hiking, you can type the words hiking in, and it'll give you some keywords that you can use, as well as some popular Twitter users that come up when you type in the search. So I'm going to search for hiking, and I can choose a bunch of things. I can see the top posts for hiking, the top people for hiking. I can look at the latest posts that have mentioned hiking in them. Usually they're going to have the hashtag hiking. Any people who have hiking in their bio, photos that are tagged with hiking, videos, any news. And then periscopes, which we're not getting into today. We're going to learn that a little bit later this term. But also people who are doing some live broadcasts. And then finally, I can go up to my own profile and settings. So if I view my profile, okay, this is what a basic Twitter profile is going to look like. And what you see up here is just going to be my header image. And then my profile pic is here. I've got my name, I've got my username, and then I have a little blurb about myself. And it's really important that you include this. Most fake Twitter accounts have nothing here. And so you immediately want to distinguish yourself from either a suspect account or an experienced Twitter user by making sure you have some sort of little bio here. A lot of students will just write student at Middlesex Community College, majoring in, if you're majoring in communication or health sciences, and maybe a couple of your interests. If you have a blog or a website, you can link to it here. It's also going to tell us when you joined Twitter. So for some of you, it's going to be just this semester, and some of you have been on Twitter for a while. Up here, we're going to see the number of tweets that you've sent, who you're following, and when you click it, it will actually give a list of those people, who's following you, the number of likes, so how many tweets you've liked over the time since you've been on Twitter, any lists that you have, and finally, moments. But for right now, I'm just going to show you lists. And lists are kind of a nice way to keep track of people that you follow in particular niches. So, for example, I have the COM 125 Spring 2017 web, and that's actually a list of all of you guys. And so you can see over here I've got 17 members, 1 subscriber. Okay. So Melanie's subscribing to it, and you guys can as well. And if you do that, then you can actually start seeing what different people are posting from class. So this is our class right here, as you can see. All right. Some of you have protected tweets like Chris and Michaela. Some of you guys are totally open. Quite a few of you guys are still little eggheads, so you're going to want to make sure that you put a profile pic in there. Again, it's going to look a little suspect to people if you don't have a profile picture. Okay, so you guys can use this by going to my page and actually looking at the list. You can either subscribe to the list or go through and individually follow everybody on the list so that you know who's in the class. And the biggest question that I get from a lot of my social media classes is, how do I expand my Twitter following? Which is huge. Like, obviously you want to have as many followers as you can get and expand your reach. So a couple things to look at. One, you want to try and find people, like I said, in your own niche that you can follow, but ideally that will follow you back. So I just click the who to follow, and it gives me a whole list of people that Twitter thinks that I would be interested in. So I'm going to scroll down, and I'm just going to randomly look at a few of these. Okay. And as I go through, what I'm looking for, one, people who have actual profile pictures, or in the case of schools and companies like this, are going to actually have a logo. All right. And let's take a look at this one. All right, so this guy is the executive director at CMA Lowell. So I believe that's the Cambodian Mutual Assistance Association. We know he's in Massachusetts. He has his website. And I'm going to look at a few things when I'm trying to decide if somebody's worth following. Number one, am I interested in their tweets? Okay, this is a local guy from Lowell, part of the Cambodian community. For me, that's already an interest right there, as someone who works in Lowell and works with this larger community. So the next thing I'm going to look at, I'm going to see how many tweets he sent out. All right, compared to when he joined. Now, he's been on Twitter for quite some time and has a relatively low number of tweets. It doesn't mean I'm going to knock him out right away, but then what I'm going to do is, when I see the number of tweets, just take a peek at how recently he's tweeted. Is this really an active account? And in this case, it is. So we've got February 27th, 26th, 25th. So he's tweeting, and he's tweeting regularly at this point. He's following 790, and what actually is most important is he has a really good ratio of following to followers, in that he's got more people following him than he is following. And that's usually a good sign that this is an interesting account and the person is posting relevant, useful information. You don't want this ratio to get too out of whack in either the people you're following or in your own following. So when you take a look at your account, if you're following 250 people and 3 people are following you, it's not going to make more people want to follow your account. So that's one thing to think about as well. Now, the other thing I'll notice is he's got quite a few likes, over 1,200, and that's a good thing. So what that is telling me is that he engages with other people. All right. He's also got 85 followers that I know, so we have some connections. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say that one, he's worth following because he's got good information. And two, given his stats and the fact that he has a pretty good ratio of following to followers, he most likely will follow me back, and not only follow me back, but ideally interact with some of my tweets. So now I'm following him. And right away, it's going to suggest more people that I might want to follow. And I can do the same thing. So I can click on this woman, and she's urban planning economic development, so she's another Lowell person. Again, not the greatest number of tweets. She's been around since 2009, so I check and see. And it looks like she tweets every couple of days. Okay, so that's not too bad. She's active, has a decent following to follower ratio. Now her likes aren't as much, so I kind of wondered, does she spend a lot of time interacting with others, or is she mostly tweeting her own stuff? And so to do that, we can take a look at her tweets. Okay, and it looks like she does a lot of tweeting of articles. Okay, but here's a retweet. More tweeting of articles. Okay, so a lot of the tweets are just her comments on things she's reading online, which is fine, but again, not necessarily as likely to interact with me. So here's another retweet. Okay, so I have to make the decision, is this something I want to know? She does have 102 followers that I know. Is this somebody that I think I'd like to interact with? And I'm going to go with yes, so I'm going to click follow. Okay, and again, this is just going to keep happening. So to build a following, the first thing you need to do is obviously start following other people. And then ideally, by looking at some of these things, you're going to choose people who will follow you back. Now, obviously, for big corporations and businesses and for celebrities, they're not necessarily going to follow you back. And it doesn't mean you can't follow them, but just be really judicious in your choices. Okay. So other ways to build a following. You have to interact with other people. So you can see here, I retweeted this tweet. I've retweeted another one here. I am sharing news stories that I think are interesting, retweeting a lot of Middlesex. Okay, and part of the reason why I had you follow some of these other accounts is so that you'll have things to retweet. All right, you can see we started tweeting already in the in-person class. I was a little bit excited. Okay. So those are just tweets and retweets that I've sent out. And then you also want to like people's tweets, interacting with people, letting them know you're seeing what they're saying, and then responding to them. So these are my tweets and replies. And so when I've replied directly to someone, it also puts that on this list, okay? And so it's really, really important that not only do you tweet, but you respond to people, you start conversations with them. That's the whole point of Twitter. It's to have a big online conversation, to share things that you find interesting, to find people that you have things in common with, and to network.